Welcome back to Inside the Middle East, coming to you from the winding alleys of one of Morocco's oldest cities, Fez. There are new parts to Fez, of course, but at its center is the old bazaar. Sure, some of it is for tourists, like this square where vendors set up shop, mostly for an audience. But locals actually shop here. In fact, this is one of the most popular items sold in Fez, the babouche. It's the traditional Moroccan leather slipper. It has a distinct yellow hue, which comes from saffron, and it's a Fez hallmark. The perfect opportunity to do a spot of shopping.
I kind of like these, actually. Et ça, c'est combien?
But the babouche isn't just about fashion. It is a tradition here and an emblem of Morocco's oldest city.
This is made in tanneries just a few alleyways away in the old Medina. They're made organically, and they're made, very importantly, by hand. And it's a process that's been around for literally centuries. We're talking about the way this leather was made, 500 years ago is the way it's being made today in this old city. We went to one of the tanneries to look at the back-breaking work involved in producing a single pair of leather slippers.
The thing that hits you hardest here is something you can't see. Over the colorful vats of the centuries-old tannery in Fez, it is the overwhelming smell of limestone, animal skins, blood, pigeon droppings. More on that in a moment. This is where leather is made in Fez, the very old-fashioned way. But make no mistake about it, it is tough work. 23-year-old Abdelhai started making leather at the Shwara tannery at 14. First, I spent some time with him where the dirty work happens, in the pits. This is the first step, he says. This is a skin that is brought from the market. First, we put it in this water basin. The hide, goat in this case, is cut open, soaked in water, limestone, and eventually a mixture including pigeon droppings to clean, treat, and soften the skin. Hopping from one vat to another, glad to get a little support, trying not to slip, and the young tanner takes a plunge in the vat. We do this 15 minutes every day for a period of time of 5 days, he tells me.
15 minutes every day for 5 days. It softens the leather.
Joined by another tanner, the process of macerating, softening goes on. But as I look around, it becomes obvious Abdelhai is probably the youngest tanner here. Most workers were much older. Abdelhai tells me he got the tannery job because his father works here, as did his father before him. He takes me to meet his dad, up narrow stairs on an even narrower ledge, and into a dark room.
هذا أبوك؟ مرحبا. مرحبا. That's his dad. This is really father to son. It's unbelievable. And he sits here all day and finishes these pieces of leather.
But the practice might well end with this generation. Abdelhai admits the work is exhausting and that his friends would rather study than spend their days waist deep in smelly water, that he would have wanted to become a police officer, and that his real dream is to make it as a boxer. I box, but I can't participate in championships because I'd suffer here in my job, he tells me. And if you leave the leather for a long time here, you risk losing it. I can't travel for championships. Meanwhile, back in the pits, the work continues. On the rooftops, the final step in the preparation of the leather. The yellow hide dries, dyed with saffron, and bakes in the bright Moroccan sun. How long until this traditional handmade leather becomes a thing of the past? Well, the older tanners, like Ahmed Shawki, say soon, possibly very soon. This job, they say, once so lucrative, could disappear entirely. The young generation do not work here because the craft is so difficult, he tells me. They can't go into the water basins and carry water buckets because they are too heavy for them. Then if they fall down, there's no insurance. I mean, if he broke his arms or fell, no one will care about him. Shauki shaves the hide until it's soft and supple. He learned to do this as a child. The most experienced of the workers here do this. It takes skill. In the alleyways of the Fez souk, there are fewer and fewer bright yellow slippers made of the leather that comes from the old tanneries. Nowadays, the slippers are made in factories, and plain old regular shoes are what most Moroccans wear now. Visitors touring Fez sometimes stop to check out the old tanneries. Perhaps soon, what all these old leather-making operations will become, wildly colorful tourist attractions.
From high above the tanneries of Fez, that's going to do it for us and this edition of Inside the Middle East. Thanks for spending this time with us. If you'd like to catch us online, go to cnn.com/IME. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. You can find me on Twitter @Hala Garani. Thanks for watching. Stay with CNN.